So not to slander 2489 too much. 2489 did the best they could, I'm sure, but there was a lot of city hopping. That's all I'm going to say. But you can see we won our zone. We're just slowly burning all their territory at the moment. And our allies, the 1188 1316 camp, won their side. They're the blue territory here. They're just sort of pushing 1846 out. But yeah, our side was very, very boring. It was a lot of just... After 8 hours, actually, the zone is basically called. I only streamed 8 hours, and I streamed another 3 hours. But there was like nothing to stream this KVK. It was like so... There's like hardly any fighting. It was just chasing kill points. That was all this KVK was. It, once again, not to like hate on 2049. It was just a lot of Luce Alex's, just city hopping and stuff. So yeah, that's really all this KVK has been so far. But I've done pretty decent myself as free to play in this KVK. Let's look at the kingdom stats, the kingdom breakdown. You can sort of see, I'm not sure like what all this KP based on account age, number of players. Ignore that. Just look at the KP. So 1960, as you can see, 57 billion kill points as a kingdom. The 1188 1316 camp did do more kill points than us, 61 billion. 1846 1262 camp only did 52 billion. 1262 is obviously the weakest kingdom in this KVK, so this is definitely a little lower than I expected though. Only 4 billion from 1262, and then 2489 with 54 billion. So in order, 1188 camp is doing the best, then us, then 2489, then 1846. So honestly, this is more or less as I expected, but I expected probably 1960 to be in first. But it looks like our side is getting less fighting than the 1188 1316 side. So that's just how it looks like after Zone 5. This is a little outdated data, I believe. There's like half a day more of fighting after this, but this is pretty up to date for the most part, just showing the stats based on each individual kingdom. We also have actually this nice infographic. You can sort of see these are the top governors in each kingdom. We can also filter by camp as well, but let's look at the top 50. So you can see Al Haytham, obviously from 1916 first, one big from 2049, the Ace who recently came back, some letters I can't read, Jack who recently came from 1093. I'm not going to do all of them, I'm just going to go through top 50. Genie, this is Arvix's main account. Prodigo, don't know these guys. Warthog was in 1818, but he migrated to 2049 looks like, and Warthog is another Arvix account as well. Osno, Fred, Alep is Osno's friend. Anglio, this guy's basically like a mini Arvix. Forza, Lupe's Andy, Blake, Ski. A lot of, as you might expect, these are mostly all people doing Conqueror's Will, Mountain Warfare every day. Addy, any other names? Star from 1960, Sky. So these are like more or less the players you'd expect. Pretty high powered players for the most part, maxing tech. Then there's me. I didn't do as well, obviously. We can see the in-game I didn't perform super well, but I did respectable amount. I'm going to break this down a little bit more. You can see my heal ratio wasn't too bad. It's like 1.5 to 1. So we're not trading terribly against 2049, but we definitely could use a little more kill points. And if you're wondering where I rank in terms of 1960, I can use this filter up here just to filter it by camp. You can sort of scroll down all the way. I think I'm below 50, unfortunately, but it is what it is. So you can see, where am I? Right there at 59. So I'm currently sitting at 59. Oh, there's Pluto. But you can see my KP gain, 603 mil. This was updated pretty recently, so you can see that's basically final because the zone is over. So yeah, we're not doing terrible. Power is not right. I'm like 92 mil power, but that is the correct KP gain, which I'm at, this KVK. So not doing too bad. 59th in GT, which is a Max Tech Alliance. Not too bad, right? For free to play, using 5 marches, pretty respectable amount, I'd say, in terms of where I am in the lines. I feel like people always ask me what my gear and armaments look like, so I'm just going to show them again. Here are my gear and armaments. My recent change, which I made, was tier 5 infantry boots for the extra march speed. So I awakened it to tier 5. I also have tier 5 archer boots because, you know, these are my 2 slowest marches, so I'm going to prioritize march speed on them. 2 hunters, 1 destructive, everything else more or less pretty good stats wise overall. This is my kill point gain, or like my stats, how it looks over time. You can see it is around 603 mil right there. basically all T5, 30 mil T5 and a little T4 kills, like 500k, a little more than 500k, 550k T4 kills. So as pretty much as you'd expect. Those T4 kills were mainly from joining rallies on forts, but they basically always feel T5 in 2489. Also, if you're wondering what commanders I'm using, it's a little different than I expected. So my 5 March setup, you can see it right here. I'm currently using Hermann Zug. I was using Zug Hermann earlier. I was also using Ragnar Primary with Scipio, but I switched that to Scipio Ragnar. If you're wondering why I did these marches in this order, it's just because I felt like I needed to be a little faster and tankier. And doing support tree, commanders with support tree primary will make the commanders faster as well as tankier. For instance, Hermann, you have options to take more march speed as well as emergency protection, both of which are very good. So for instance, emergency protection, I think this is a very good talent for a support tree. You also get additional march speed. I think it's right here. So 6% additional march speed. I even opt for 6% march speed in the versatility tree just because archers are very slow. This is what my Hermann tree looks like. I basically want to prioritize march speed as much as possible. So honestly, Zug Hermann was not trading well for me. If you're maybe in a similar situation, honestly swap to Hermann Zug. After I swapped to Hermann Zug, my trades were instantly better. Same with Scipio Ragnar. I had Ragnar Scipio and I switched to Scipio Ragnar. Trades were instantly better. So that's my 5 March, which I use this KVK. And this is 30 mil kills, a little more than 30.5 mil kills, I think. If you're curious the stratagems I use, stratagems is a unique feature in this mode. I use Do or Die, Breakneck, and Kindhearted in the first maybe 12 hours. So I use Kindhearted because I wanted extra hospital capacity when I random teleported, as well as it does help you save heals in your hospital. So like you don't have to heal as often if you take Kindhearted. Then I switched to Makeshift Splints, which I still have right now actually. Makeshift Splints helps you save up to 700 million resources every KVK. You can only use it once. But the nice thing about stratagems is once you're done with the stratagem, you can sell it back for 90% of the cost. So I bought this for 600. I'm selling it back for 540 when I'm done. So you can basically recycle the stratagems once you're done, which is a pretty nice feature. So once you're done with the stratagem and you don't want it anymore, you can sell it back. The green ones, there are a few that are pretty nice, like the triage buff as well. You can reduce it by 500k sevs, then you can sell it back. So that's what I used. I used two green ones. I swapped out the Kindhearted and I bought Makeshift Splints. I'm probably going to sell the Makeshift Splints later as well. Now to show one of the nicer features which the devs introduced recently, the resources spent healing units. You can see how much I spent healing, and you know, it's more or less as expected, 13 billion for around 30 mil kills. So definitely more than I'm used to, but you know, against 2489, they're all max tech. This is more or less what you'd expect. 13 billion spent, not too bad. I was at, let me state, I was only at 15 million crystals spent by pass 4, which is normal for free to play. So that's the best I could do. Honestly, the field trades were not looking super hot. Deads, I only took 300k in zone 5. You don't want to take too many in zone 5. Also, Do or Die does kill quite a few troops. I took 135k in Do or Die deads. Rest, probably just filling rallies. Maybe I got hit by one garrison AoE as well. But yeah, we're going pretty light in zone 5. I didn't want to go too hard. Healing tech also is very inaccessible for free to play in first zone. So yeah, that's all I spent. I didn't want to go. I could have spent more resources. I could have got more kills, but decided to save a little for the next zone. As you can see, my resources are looking a little depleted right now. Now for my marches, I was also mixing T4 and T5. I can't show it that well here because I'm not using expansion, but you can see here on my pass 4 opening, I was using 125k T4 in each march. So that was designed obviously to save resources. I couldn't field full T5, it was way too expensive as free to play. I was using Zug Hermann at the start, but I did swap it later. But yeah, I did use mixed T4 and T5. I think you probably need to mix this free to play in first zone. It's way too expensive to fight full T5. I did do it in 2429's KVK. I fought in 2268 full T5 against 2429. It is not worth it, trust me. So I highly suggest mixing somewhat like a ratio like this if you're free to play for first zone. That's what I did myself for all my marches, all 5. So unfortunately, this is where I usually track my kills and data every KVK more or less. I forgot to mention I used 400 days of speeds in this zone, but speeds are not really an issue for me anymore. Anyways, I usually track the commander's kills before. So like before and after, and I can compare. Unfortunately, I forgot to mark down most of my commanders. I only marked down Nevsky and Ragnar. And Ragnar is frankly pointless because I started with 0 kills. So I do not have the accurate data for like how each of my commanders did kills wise. But just looking at the reports and just looking at the reports for this KVK, I would say Nev Drone was still my best March, which is surprising. Nev Drone is my best March. Herman Zug was my second best. Lou Alex was my third best. And Scipio Ragnar was my fourth. And Huo William was my fifth. So that surprised me a lot. But just looking at the reports, that's what I found out. Nev Drone has really stood the test of time for me. And it's still, I would say, a March that is pretty good for people that know how to position well. Herman Zug did very, very well once I swapped to Herman primary. But Zug Herman was not doing well. Zug Herman has not historically done well for me at all. So I'm very happy that this March has done better. Like I said, if you think Zug Herman is not doing well for you, maybe March speed is an issue, swap to Herman primary. Scipio Ragnar, I'm frankly unimpressed with. Maybe this is a better March for Wales, but this March has not performed that well for me. If you look at the kills, Ragnar's only sitting at 2.8, which is the equivalent of 5.6. And those 5.6 million kills I'm talking about, you just multiply that 2.8 by 2, because the kills are split between the primary and the secondary commander. So Ragnar has half the kills of that Scipio Ragnar March I'm using. But I'm really not sure why Ragnar is not performing that well. I think this commander looks good, the damage numbers look good, but it's just not doing as much damage as I thought on the field. Like, I look at the red numbers, and honestly, Ragnar is not doing that much red numbers compared to Joan or Nevsky. So it's a little surprising that it's not as good as I thought. But maybe it performs better if in different situations, like maybe if you're a whale, like I said, it performs better. Maybe in this KVK, it's not doing so well just because this KVK, it's very hit and run. There's a lot of hitting and you just run it back and you hit again. So maybe Ragnar is more of a situational commander and it's good in balls, but we didn't really have big balls in our KVKs. So there might be cases where Ragnar is better, but this KVK is not performing that well for me, unfortunately. So anyways, these are my 5 marches, which I'm using, and Nev Joan, like I said, is my best. Herman Zug is second. Third is Lou Alex. Fourth is Scipio Ragnar, and fifth is Huo William. This is all based on my reports. I don't have actual data, but next past 7 and Kingsland, I'll be tracking that. And yeah, this is my 5 marches going forward until next gen Cav and next gen infantry. I think that's all I really need to talk about in this video. So just giving a look at how free-to-play is doing so far in this KVK. Frankly, I think I could be doing better, but at the same time, there's not been much fighting or like actual ball fighting in this KVK. It's mainly just been kill point chasing. So hopefully past 7 in Kingsland, there are some better fights for me to perform and get more kill points on, because at this rate I'm going, I'm not sure if I'll be able to hit my 15 bill target this KVK, 15 bill kill point target. So we'll see how this all goes down in the later zones. And hopefully it's a good one, because so far it's not been going so good. But anyways, sorry for the 2049 slander in my thumbnail, and until next time.